The winning blueprint presents.
Welcome, you are in the lab room. I'm your host, Lou. Thank you for joining me, and it's Friday, which means we have a lot to get to. Don't want to waste too much time, as Friday is always a long program. A lot of games to get to. Let's talk about first what occurred on Thursday Night Football between the Indianapolis Colts and the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Colts dominated this football game. I actually thought Jacksonville had a legitimate shot of winning this game. They came out, forced a turnover early on, but this was a sign of things to come, a bad omen for Jacksonville. Aaron Ross gets the pick early in this football game. They get a roughing the passer penalty to negate the interception. That was a microcosm of this game. A lot of errors on the part of the Jacksonville Jaguars in this game. Too many to get a win in the National Football League. You can't miss field goals. You can't fumble the football. You can't throw pick sixes. You can't waste opportunities to have things go in your direction and think you're going to win a football game. And just in the first quarter alone, we had a pick that was negated on a personal foul. You had Josh Scobie missing a field goal. These are opportunities that you need to take advantage of if you're the Jacksonville Jaguars. You're a 1-7 football team on the season. You can't afford to waste opportunities to make things happen and to gain momentum in a football game. You need every single break to go your way. And that didn't happen because you didn't make your own breaks. You simply made mistakes, something that you've done all season long, and it cost you in this game. Andrew Luck, again, another strong performance. Did throw that one interception. Actually would have been two had that one interception that Aaron Ross corralled counted as well. But he threw another one to Dewan Landry later on in the first half, right before halftime. Doesn't matter. It all went for naught as the Colts were able to overcome the mistakes that they made in this ball game and do more than enough to take care of the Jacksonville Jaguars 27-10 in this football game. The Colts did everything that I said I thought they could do, would do, should do to get a win. They ran the football. It wasn't overly effective. Again, you don't need the running game to be overly effective. You just want to keep the defense honest. That's what they did in this game. Andrew Luck did not exceed 30 pass attempts in this game. Again, another number that I said they needed to try to keep him under. They were able to do that in this game. He ran in 2 touchdowns, rushing on the ground. They got a pick 6, added a couple field goals, and you get 27 points. Meanwhile, the Jacksonville Jaguars self-destructed, as they always do. Fumble by Laurent Robinson, a pick 6 by Blaine Gabbert, a missed field goal by Josh Scobie, a negated interception by Aaron Ross because Terrence Knighting had a roughing the passer helmet-to-helmet hit on Andrew Luck. And these are things you can't have happen if you're trying to get a win. All these things occurred in this game. They didn't get the win. Jacksonville falls to 1-8 on the season. 27-10 loss at the hands of the Indianapolis Colts, who moved to 6-3 on the season. And now the Colts are in the driver's seat. If they can find a way to win 3 more games, I think that will be more than enough to get them a seat at the table in the playoffs come January. We don't know. This thing could shake out in several different ways. Teams could get hot and make this that much harder for the Colts to get in. But I tell you what, the way the AFC has looked all season long, 9 wins should be the benchmark to get you a seat at the table, to get you a ticket to the postseason. If you want to get a ticket to the dance, if you're the Colts, just win the games you're supposed to win. You have the Texans 2 more times this season. You're not supposed to beat the Texans. If you can reach up and grab those Texans one time and have that time be at home, so be it. If not, if you drop 2 to the Texans, it's okay. Those are games we didn't have you winning anyway. But you do have the Titans left on your schedule. You need to make sure that is a victory. Games like that you are supposed to win at home against the Tennessee Titans, a team you went on the road and already beat once this season already, you need to make sure you get those kind of wins under your belt and help pad those numbers to help you get where you're trying to go, which is a berth in the playoffs this season. So Colts go to 6-3. They got it done on Thursday Night Football, took care of business, did what they were supposed to do, and now they're looking like a team that is going to make a strong push to make the playoffs in this 2012 season. Now let's get into the slate of games on Sunday coming up this weekend in Week 10, because it's a lot of games to get to, a lot of intriguing matchups. So let's not delay. Let's get right to these matchups, starting with the Denver Broncos traveling to the Carolina Panthers in a matchup that I think the Broncos should ultimately be able to win. Even though the Panthers are coming off of a win last week against the Washington Redskins, they're second on the season. Don't think this is a very good Carolina Panthers football team. The Denver Broncos are playing hot football right now. Winners of 3 straight. Now they're 5-3 on the season. Leaders in the AFC West. They're looking like a strong team right now, really posturing themselves to win this AFC West division. Peyton Manning is coming on. He's starting to build a rapport with his teammates, especially Eric Decker and Demaryius Thomas out wide. They're starting to put points on the scoreboard. This defense is starting to do just enough to ensure victory for this Broncos team. They can continue to work in harmony, that offense and defense for the Denver Broncos. I don't see many teams, especially teams like the Panthers, who are subpar teams in the National Football League. I don't see teams like the Panthers beating the Denver Broncos if they can continue to play the type of football they've been playing over the last month. And if the Broncos can continue to score points, limit teams on the offensive end with their defense, get after the quarterbacks. See, when you score points in this league, it allows your defense to pin their ears back. You get guys like Von Miller, Elvis Dumersville to go after the quarterback. And that's what you want, and that's what this Denver Broncos team has been doing. They build up a lead, and then they send the dogs after you, and they start hunting. And once they start hunting, there's not much you can do about it. I think that the Denver Broncos are the superior team in this game. I don't care that they're on the road. I don't think that the Panthers are a very good football team, home or away. And I expect the Denver Broncos to go into Carolina and get the win, 27-16, taking their record to 6-3 on the season, dropping the Carolina Panthers to 2-7 on the season. As we move on to our next game up on the slate of games in Week 10, you have the New York Giants traveling to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals in a game that pits two teams coming off of losses a week ago. Tough losses at that. The Giants, who had a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter against the Pittsburgh Steelers, blew that lead, allowed the Steelers to come back and overtake them in that fourth quarter and ultimately go ahead and win that football game 24-20. And so they come off of a loss in a game which they led by double figures in the fourth quarter. You look at the Bengals, who a week ago had a lead in the fourth quarter against the Denver Broncos by a field goal, ultimately ended up losing that football game by 8 points as the Broncos managed to put together 2 straight touchdown drives and put them ahead for good in that football game. And so both of these teams are looking to avenge losses a week ago. The Giants, coming into this game at 6-3 on the season, are playing really good football. They're the leaders in the NFC East, and if not for that stumble a week ago against the Pittsburgh Steelers, would be riding high with a 5-game winning streak. They've been playing really good football of late, and this New York Giants team has all the weapons, all the tools that they need to get it done. They are the Super Bowl defending champions. They've been playing like it to start this season off, but we know how the Giants do. They're a team that starts off hot. You know, it's not uncommon for the Giants to start 6-1, 6-2, 6-3, and then drop the next 3 out of 4, drop the next 4 out of 5, and then have to rally late in the season just to make the postseason. And you know they're one of these teams, once they get it revved up, once they get going, they're a tough team to stop. We've seen them do it in the past. So Was last week the start of a slight stumble for these Giants, or was it just a slight blip on the radar screen that the Giants will be able to overcome and get back to their winning ways? It's going to be tough. You're going on the road against a Cincinnati Bengals team who has not tasted victory in 4 straight affairs. They're desperately seeking a win. They're at home. This Giants team is coming off a loss. They can smell a victory. I just don't know if this Cincinnati Bengals team is ready to go against the Super Bowl defending champions and get a W. I said before the season started in their L.A.B report that I didn't think this Cincinnati Bengals team was going to be able to repeat the success that they had a season ago. I think teams are catching up to them. They realize that A.J. Green is the main option on that offense, and if you can slow him down somewhat, you can slow this offense down. And I think they have to find some complementary parts to A.J. Green to help this offense really move along if they want to start winning football games. I don't see them beating the Giants. I really think they can get it done, but I can't pull myself to pick a team that has not been able to win a game in their last 4 games. I just can't pull myself to pick the Cincinnati Bengals, being that they're on a losing streak that spans over a month. Can't do it. I have the Giants going into Cincinnati, getting a win, 27-20. Giants elevate their record to 7-3. Bengals drop to 3-6 on the season after starting the season 3-1. Who saw a 5-game losing streak coming? Not many saw it happening. But again, I did not think this Cincinnati Bengals team was going to be that good this season like they were a season ago when they snuck up on a lot of teams. Looking at the next matchup, the Tennessee Titans are traveling to the Miami Dolphins in a game that really symbolizes a crossroads for the Miami Dolphins. You're the Dolphins. You're 4-4 on the season. You're at 500. You had a heartbreaking loss a week ago on the road to the Colts. 2 rookie quarterbacks battling it out in Andrew Luck and Ryan Tannehill. Luck getting the best of Tannehill in that matchup. So you're 4-4 on the season. You're looking to really make some noise in the AFC. You're one of the surprise teams in the AFC. And you have a chance to beat a Tennessee Titans team at home who has lost 2 straight after winning 2 straight. Now they've dropped 2 straight. And they're welcoming back their second-year quarterback, Jake Locker, off of injury from his shoulder injury. He's coming back his first game out. He's got to shake off the rust. He's got cobwebs to shake loose. And so you need to take advantage of this Tennessee Titans team who's reeling right now. They've gotten blown out several times this season. Last week, they took one on the chin of epic proportions. I mean, they really were soundly destroyed at home a week ago against the Chicago Bears. They're reeling. They're welcoming back their quarterback. They got a lot of kinks to work out. If you're the Dolphins, this is an opportunity at home to take advantage of a team who's struggling right now. And really, they don't have any continuity. They're bringing back their second-year quarterback who hasn't played since about week 3. You need to take advantage of this opportunity to elevate your record over 500, get to 5-4 on the season, and stay right in arm's reach of the Patriots in the AFC East division. If you're the Dolphins, you need to have this one. You need to be able to run the football with Reggie Bush. It's time for Reggie Bush to have a breakout game. He's had some nice games, 15 carries, 60 yards. He needs to have one of those games where he rushes for 127 yards on 19 carries, 2 touchdowns, catches about 4 balls out of the backfield for an additional 60 yards. He needs to have a breakout game. It's time for Reggie Bush to step up. Him and Daniel Thomas have been interchanging back there in that backfield. Time for Reggie Bush to seize control of this Miami Dolphins offense and really give them a shot in the arm and give them a boost against this Tennessee Titans team. Take a little bit of pressure off of Ryan Tannehill. He threw the ball 38 times last week. He didn't need to throw the ball 38 times. Run the football with Reggie Bush. Set up play action fake. Allow him to work down the field to Brian Hartline and Devon Best and some of those guys, Marlon Moore. Let him work that down the field off of play action fake. If you're the Dolphins, play sound defense. Jake Locker's coming back. Put pressure on him. Stop Chris Johnson. Bottle up that run game. Make them take to the air. When they do, you need to tee off on Jake Locker as he is just coming back and he's going to be rusty. Make him pay as he needs to be able to, as he's going to be looking to work himself back into this Titans offense. If you're the Titans, you got Jake Locker coming back. You want to use his athleticism to get in and out of the pocket, kind of keep the Dolphins guessing as to what's coming next. Also, Chris Johnson has been running the football effectively of late. Give him the rock. Let him see what he can do. Hopefully, he'll continue to ascend as he's been running the football really well of late. You want to have a big game if you're Chris Johnson to help this Tennessee Titans team get off the schneid. After winning 2 straight, you dropped 2 straight. You're a big reason why this offense can be explosive at times. If Chris Johnson can get on track and this Tennessee Titans team can go off of that play-action fake, take some pressure off of Jake Locker, who's just coming back off of injury, you got a shot in this game. But again, the Dolphins are the better team. They have a better quarterback, in my estimation, in Ryan Tannehill. Jake Locker is just coming off of injury. He's going to have to shake off a lot of rust. I think the Dolphins are primed in this position to get a win, to elevate their record to 5-4 in the season. I see the Dolphins getting it done at home, 19-16 over the Tennessee Titans in a hard-fought ball game. But again, I think the Dolphins are better than the Titans right now, and I think the Dolphins are at home and they should be able to get it done and take their record to 5-4 in the season and drop the Tennessee Titans to 3-6 on the season. Moving right along, we encounter our first matchup this weekend on Sunday that has to do with family business. Of course, that Thursday night matchup was family business, but up until this point on the Sunday slate of games, we had not stirred up any family business until now. The Detroit Lions are traveling to Minnesota to Mall of America Field to take on the Minnesota Vikings. And this is a rematch of a game earlier on in the season where the Minnesota Vikings went into Detroit to Ford Field and took care of the Detroit Lions 17-14. So if you're the Lions, you're looking for revenge. You're out for revenge. And you really need it. Again, you're looking to ascend in the NFC North Division. You're 4-4 in the season. The Vikings are 5-4. You're looking to leapfrog them in this division. You've been playing good football of late, winners of 3 out of the last 4. Meanwhile, the Vikings are starting to come back to earth after starting the season 5-1. They've dropped 3 straight, and now they're searching for answers. They don't know what the problem is, and really, it's not hard to decipher what the problem is in Minnesota. The problem is Christian Ponder. He's not getting it done right now. Early on in the season, he was doing a great job of helping this team win football games. He was not only managing the game, he was making plays in critical situations in football games to help this Minnesota Vikings team win games. If you remember that San Francisco game, he had a great run, a great touchdown run in that game. He had an excellent pass to Kyle Rudolph in the red zone. He was making plays when they needed to be made and helping augment that running game with Adrian Peterson. They were doing more than enough on the offensive end to win football games. That defense was playing lights out early on in the season. You sprinkle in a little bit of special teams. The Vikings were a dangerous team. You fast forward now to week 10 in the National Football League. That's not the same Vikings team that we saw early on in the season. Christian Ponder is no longer making the plays necessary to help this Vikings team win football games. The special teams has done nothing since about week 5. And the defense is starting to become worse and worse each week. And a lot of that has to do with the ineffectiveness of this offense. This offense not being able to sustain drives, not being able to put points on the board, and most importantly, turning the football over, putting this defense in difficult situations has been the reason why this Vikings defense is starting to get worse and worse as these weeks progress. Now, if you're the Vikings, you have one thing that you can definitely hang your hat on. With Percy Harvin possibly not playing in this game, it's looking like more and more he won't play as he's really not practiced all this week, nursing that injury that he suffered against the Seattle Seahawks last week. The one thing you can hang your hat on is you have the NFL's leading rusher on your side in Adrian Peterson. Adrian Peterson has been an absolute nightmare for opposing defenses this year. Has been an absolute nightmare for opposing defenses this year. And he's Adrian Peterson of old. He's AD. He's Adrian Peterson. And really, that's what the Vikings need him to be. They need him to be that monster that is going to carry this team, because right now Christian Ponder is struggling. And if the Vikings want to win, Adrian Peterson has to continue on this torrid pace that he's been on of late. And Christian Ponder has to find a way to make smart decisions with the football, make decisive decisions with the football. Make a decision, trust your eyes, cut it loose. I think sometimes he's holding on to the ball too long, and he has to be more accurate. You know, guys are open and he's missing them down the field. He has to be the guy that he was early on in the season that was helping this Vikings get off to a 5-1 start on the season. You look at the Detroit Lions. They've been coming on of late. They've been scoring more points, and the biggest Achilles heel of this team early on when they got off to that 1-3 start was the fact that they couldn't score points. They couldn't get the ball in the end zone. And we all know last year the success of the Detroit Lions hinged upon that offense scoring points. You know, this defense was not a world beater last year. But what the defense did was they made plays, they scored points on defense, and they helped augment an offense that was scoring points and lighting up scoreboards around the National Football League. That's not the case this year. They're not scoring points. They're not being aggressive on offense. They're moving the ball from 20 to 20, but they get in the red zone, they get bogged down, and they ask Jason Hanson to come on the field, kick a field goal. Of late, they've been finding ways to score points, and that's been the difference in these last 4 games where they went 3-1 over the last 4 games. They've been able to score points. The one game that they lost in that 4-game stretch to the Bears, again, they had trouble scoring points. Turned the football over a couple of times, had trouble getting in the end zone, hence they lost that football game. But every other game in the last month, they've been able to score points, and that's the difference right now between the Detroit Lions in the first month of the season to now. So if you're the Detroit Lions, you come into this game and you want to push the ball down the field, you have to get Calvin Johnson involved. No, he's a little banged up, but if he suits up, you got to find a way to get him in the end zone. This drought that he's on right now is ridiculous. It should never be a 2 or 3 week situation where Calvin Johnson has not been in the end zone. We're talking about 5 or 6 weeks where Calvin Johnson hasn't been in the end zone, and that's ridiculous. There's no excuse for that. Get Calvin Johnson the football. Get him the ball in the end zone. If the Detroit Lions can continue to run the football, I love what Mikel LaShaw has brought to this Detroit Lions offense. Him and Joyce Bell have been playing really good football of late. If they can continue to run the football and get Matthew Stafford comfortable in that pocket, allow him to push that ball down the field, this Detroit Lions team will go into Minnesota and hand the Vikings their 4th straight loss to even their record out at 5-5. And then the Lions will elevate themselves to 5-4 on the season, getting them over 500. And I tell you what, if they can keep winning football games, they're going to find themselves right in the thick of things in the NFC wildcard picture. I think they can go on the road to Minnesota, handle some family business, get it done. 26-16. This Vikings team is struggling, and they're at home. And home is always a place where if you're going to get off the snide, that's the best place to do it, at home. So if you're the Vikings, you could use some home cooking, but I just don't know if Christian Ponder is going to play well enough for them to win this football game. Lions 26, Vikings 16. Vikings go to 5-5 on the season. Meanwhile, the Detroit Lions elevate themselves to 5-4 in the division and elevate themselves to 3rd place in the NFC North, leapfrogging this Minnesota Vikings team, who finds themselves at the bottom of the NFC North division all of a sudden. After being in 2nd place for much of the season, all of a sudden, after 2 weeks of football, now they're at the bottom of the division after being in 2nd place just 2 weeks ago. The next game up on the docket sees the Oakland Raiders traveling to Baltimore to take on the Ravens in a game that is frankly, is strange. There's not much intrigue in this game. Not much that pulls you, that gravitates you to this game. The Raiders are 3-3 5 on the season after dropping a game at home that could have put them at 4-4 and at 500 on the season to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Raiders have been scoring points of late, but the problem is they're giving up points as well. The same thing that the Baltimore Ravens can be saying. They've been winning ball games, but it's not in the typical Baltimore Ravens fashion where they just stifle you on defense and score more points than you do on offense and win the football game. This team is slowly transforming into an offensive-laden team where this offense drives this team and powers it, and the defense is just looking to do enough to help them win, which is a drastic change from the Baltimore Ravens of old, the team that we've grown accustomed to over the years. It's starting to see the changing of the guard take place where Joe Flacco is starting to become the main focus of this team. That offense with Ray Rice and Joe Flacco and Anquan Bolden and all those cast of characters are starting to become the focal point while this Ravens defense starts to fade to black. They have to step up, however. If this Ravens team wants to take that next step and find themselves back in the AFC Championship game again, this defense has to rise to the occasion again. They're playing good enough football right now to get them to the playoffs. There's not a question of whether the Ravens will find themselves in the playoffs. They'll make it to the playoffs because they're in a division where they own everyone in that division other than the Steelers. They still have the Steelers coming up twice in these next 5 weeks. However, they still have the Bengals one more time, and they still have a lot of the teams in the NFC East to match up against. They haven't played the Giants yet. They haven't played the Redskins yet. So they still have some winnable games on their schedule. They'll be fine. But you just don't have the same feel about this Ravens team as you have in the past. It's funny that I'm talking about this Ravens team like they're coming off of a loss. It feels like a loss, even though they beat the Cleveland Browns last week in Cleveland. Coming off of a bye, you expected a more crisp, sharper performance from this Baltimore Ravens team, and you didn't get that. They jumped on them 14-0 last week, and you're thinking, okay, this is the Ravens team that we've come accustomed to, and that's what we're expecting to get from the Ravens coming off of a bye. But they didn't score another point until the fourth quarter. The Ravens were dominated after that quick, hot start in this game, jumping out 14-0. The Browns scored the next 15 points in this game and took the lead on the Ravens at 15-14 going into the fourth quarter before the Ravens finally got a field goal, got a touchdown, went ahead for good. If you're the Ravens, there is a cause for concern because you're not that same team anymore. And so I don't think you scare teams like you used to. So if you're the Ravens, this is a game right here that can get you back on track. This is an Oakland Raiders team that's 3-5 on the season. They're not a very good football team. They're still trying to find their way. Carson Palmer and their offense has been playing better of late, but this is still a shoddy defense. We saw that a week ago against Tampa Bay, them giving up 251 yards rushing to Doug Martin and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Josh Freeman had a very good football game against them as well, en route to a 42-point performance on this Raiders defense. If you're the Ravens, you want to go out and establish your dominance against this Oakland Raiders team. Remind the rest of the NFL that you are the Baltimore Ravens. You can get it done, and that you're not a team that is to be slept on in this 2012 season. Make a statement this week. If you're the Raiders, don't be that team that allows someone to make a statement on you. You make a statement of your own. Stand up and say, look, that loss last week, while it was devastating, does not define us. We're a better team than we have been in the last 5 years, and we're going to prove it by not only bouncing back from last week's defeat, but winning on the road against the Baltimore Ravens in a hostile environment, showing you what we're really made of. If you're the Raiders, that's the statement that you want to make. Problem is, I don't think you're good enough to make that kind of a statement on the road. You weren't even good enough to make that kind of a statement at home against a 3-4 Tampa Bay Buccaneers team. So it's hard for me to fathom you going out on the road and making a statement like that against a 7-2 Baltimore Ravens ball club. Just hard for me to picture that happening. And so, I have the Ravens taking care of business against this Oakland Raiders team 26-20. Getting the job done. Running Ray Rice. If you watched that Raiders game a week ago, and I'm pretty sure the Baltimore Ravens have combed over that film numerous times, there's running room to be had. I feel like Doug Martin is a younger version of Ray Rice. Ray Rice can do just exactly the same thing that Doug Martin went in to Oakland and did last week. He can do the same thing. And I expect Ray Rice to have a big day if the Ravens don't forget that Ray Rice is their best player. If they don't do that, I think he'll have a big day and he'll be the catalyst in the 26-20 victory over the Oakland Raiders on Sunday to elevate their record to 8-2 on the season, dropping the Raiders to 3-6 on the season. The Buffalo Bills are traveling to the New England Patriots in what is going to be more family business. This has turned out to be an annual spanking each year when the Bills decide to go to New England. Last year, everyone started to drink a little bit of that Buffalo Bills Kool-Aid. They were able to beat the Patriots early in that season when they started off 5-1 last year in the season. They beat the Patriots in Buffalo. They went to Buffalo later on that season and were beat up pretty soundly. So don't think the Bills are a team that can go out on the road and beat the New England Patriots. I just don't think that they're a good enough football team to do that. They had an opportunity to beat this Patriots team, to really dig a huge hole for this Patriots team to have to climb out of, to really put them in a tough spot, and they were unable to do it. Had an opportunity, and it's crazy. I was talking to a buddy of mine about this Buffalo Bills team, and it's very rare that one play can define your season. But if you're the Buffalo Bills, one play has changed the course of your season from possibly being a serious contender to win the AFC East to probably finishing dead last in the AFC East and having wholesale changes being made in the offseason. With the Patriots down 21-7, Buffalo at home, ball on their own ball on the New England Patriot 1-yard line. They hand it to C.J. Spiller, who fumbles the football right before the half at the 1-yard line, going in for a touchdown. Vince Wilfork recovers. The Patriots go on to score, 34 unanswered points, and the rest is history. C.J. Spiller scores that touchdown. The Bills go up 28-7 before the half. We could be talking about the Buffalo Bills, not the New England Patriots, coming into this game at 5-3. But that's not the case. The Bills are 3-5. The Patriots are 5-3. And the Patriots have pretty much soared and elevated themselves after beating this Buffalo Bills team. Meanwhile, the Bills have started their slow, steady decline to the bottom of the AFC East, as they really haven't rebounded from that sound shellacking they took from these very New England Patriots in the second half of that ball game. And I don't see them going to Foxborough and coming out with a victory. This Bills team is not a good football team. Their owner, Buddy Nix, is talking about wanting to draft a quarterback. And I can't blame him. Ryan Fitzpatrick has been the model of inconsistency in the National Football League. You don't know what you're getting. You don't know what you're getting from Ryan Fitzpatrick from a game-in, game-out basis. And so I can't blame him for wanting to get a quarterback in there that can be more consistent. And they can call their franchise QB and say, look, this guy's going to take us into the future. And Ryan Fitzpatrick makes it so hard for you as a fan to grasp him as the starting quarterback because he makes so many mistakes. He's not consistent. You'll get a dazzling performance out of him one week and then get 3 straight lackluster performances in a row, and you just can't put your finger on why Ryan Fitzpatrick and that Bills offense is an enigma. And so this Bills team is going to lose to the New England Patriots. It's not going to be a close football game. I expect the Patriots to handle these Buffalo Bills soundly in this football game. 34-13. I think the Patriots are coming off of a bye week, and they're prepared, they're well rested, and they're ready to go. And I think they're going to explode on this Buffalo Bills football team.